Well, hey there. Leaving the power plant after my first week at work, and by first week I mean got here last Monday, and it's now the following Tuesday afternoon, so that's 8 full days of work. And I'm leaving a little bit early because I need to go buy new safety shoes. So, and that's all fine. I mean, it's just a thing. Yeah. So where's my mind? Okay. Already, I've concluded that I absolutely want to get back on the boat and go sail away. And I think I've already gone a long way in the battle of, resolving my frustrations and impatience and loneliness and all that stuff out at sea. The things that made me not have so much fun sometimes, a lot of that's already kind of gone from my system. But it's still, I mean, I'm going to make good money, so I'll stick this out for a little bit longer, and we'll see how it goes. Looking ahead, I'm going to drive down to Florida tomorrow, and it's about an 8-hour drive. I'll leave very early in the morning, probably, and get there by late morning, probably. And I'm going to go out, and I think the first job I'm going to do is a straightforward swap out, and I'm going to replace my anchor chain. I'm just going to go do it. I have looked around to find a cheaper source of chain, the 5/16 stuff. Good morning, I'm Russ from sailing vessel Tautog. Current location is Fort Pierce, Florida. It's 84 degrees and it's just now 8 o'clock in the morning. Beautiful warm day. Had a pretty good breeze yesterday. The only issue right now is that the boats are aground. So sitting here at the dock, so I'm here in the marina and sitting at the dock, but the tide is so low that I bottomed out, and I think the boat's soon going to be ready to kind of pick back up. The tide's coming in now. Anyway, so one job I'm going to do while I'm here is anchor chain. This is all I have. This pile is my only anchor chain. It's about 60 feet long, I think. I remember measuring it once. We're going to get more chain. That's the bottom line. I'm going to double it. I'm going to go buy 120 foot of chain today. But the first thing I'm going to do is disconnect it from the dealie, from the rope, by cutting the lock wire, getting the shackle off, which might be a bit of work. And then I'm going to grind a few links off and take the old links with me, because I want to be sure they're the exact same size. Because they have to go on the gypsy on the windlass, and if this is, if it's close, it would probably work, but I want to be pretty darn close. I call this 5/16 chain. Over here, this chain is a little bit bigger, and they call that 5/16. So you see, 5/16 is not always the same, depending, whose 5/16 you're looking at. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to get some, let's cut this old lock wire off. Yeah, that's easy. God, gravy. Cutting one at a time is sure. I don't have the right pliers for this. Hang on a sec. I don't think this is going to come off so easily. Oh, but it did. Wow. All that axle grease helps a lot. I greased the hell out of that before I put it on, way back when. Now, I'm gonna go get the grinder. Get this damn thing off here. Come on, you little bugger. Come on up there. Got the dock cart. I got the chain. My bag of stuff. That's his trash. That's a lot of damn chain. That's 100 foot of 3/8. That's a CSY 44 over there. It's Smells like skunks. Beautiful, hot day. What the hell are they doing? That's what they're doing. Need some red paint there. You bet. If I hear a crashing sound, you're going on YouTube, man. Alrighty, so it's been a full day. The old anchor chain up there in the bow is in a big pile. It is disconnected on both ends. I've got the new chain already connected to the anchor. And I already have the lock wire on the pin to the shackle. And the new chain does nominally fit in the windlass Gypsy. A little bit too big, but that chain, it was a little bit too loose. And it's weird because I thought I had 5/16 chain, but the 5/16 chain you see in the store is much, much smaller, and the link size was completely different. That never would have fit the Gypsy. I ended up buying 3/8" chain, which is a little bit bigger, and it does work on the windlass. I mean, it'll work, just not perfect. So I wonder what size chain I had, and I wonder what size that Gypsy is made for, although I believe you can look that up. It's stamped on the side of the Gypsy, I think. That's what I think, but I'm not a windlass expert. Anyway, so the job's almost 100% done, except that the paint's not dry. So what I'm going to do, so I've already got the forward end of the chain connected to the anchor. You see the pile of chain on the deck there, and the aft end of the chain is going to get connected to the rope to complete so I'll have about a 300-foot road available to me, because I think this rope is at least 150 foot and the chain is 100 feet of chain. So we're going to put together the shackle real fast on the road, and then just leave it sit out here all night and let the paint dry up a little wee bit. Anyway, so we'll put the shackle on, then we're going to put on the lock washer, or the lock wire. Anyway. Yeah, so I do about 4 or 5 passes through. Oh shit. I think that's good enough right there. I don't have enough to make another pass. Okay, so that's that. And then here, you just put a twist on it. You put a twist in. There's special pliers you can get to do this, but if you have farmer hands, or you remember, you can do that. And I like to trim off the excess on both sides. And then I put my pliers on it and twist the hell out of it. That's all I do. And I'm justified because the stuff I took off of was still in place. It's been in place for a couple of years and still look pretty good. So this job is a complete X now, just about. Get a few twists on that. I'm going to put this video together tonight. I think I'm about done working outside today. I need to clean the hull. And then what I do is to benefit all your future teammates or crew, wrap this puppy around so it doesn't kill anybody. Because these things are, this sharp lock wire can be very sharp. There we go. So there's the job complete. Shackles in, pins in, lock wired on. I'm going to put these tools away. Okay, so listen. So what you're hearing, that's the motor going, that's the pump rotating, not really moving any water. So watch what I'm going to do. Take my tickle switch. Hear the difference? That's a pumping water with a lot of bubbles for the moment. And that'll quiet down in a second. And of course I can see the level visually going down. Like that sound, and now it's quiet up. So now this is the sound of just pumping only water with no bubbles, which is what that's the state you want it to be in. So think about that when you think you want a dry bilge. Always remember that bilge pumps, that the bilge pumps don't always prime that well. This is the... Yeah, so I'm thinking of installing these scrap pieces of sapelli hardwood, something like this, one there and one here, and I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to install them yet. That's really the open question. Somehow attach them here robustly, and then have a vertical piece like this that goes all the way across, and that would be the the shelf on which the tablet would rest, and on which a depth sounder, and maybe if there's some other item in the future, like maybe a rack for the VHF radio, something like that. Yeah, so kind of doing some exploratory surgery is probably a good idea now, because running the power from the breaker panel in there, underneath, under the side, and wrapping it around behind the wall there, and coming underneath, that is pretty straightforward. I know I can do that pretty easily, because I've already run the power to the red lights for my night lights and for my compass red light. And I'll just follow the exact same haul path for the wire. So getting the wire is easy. This surface here is clear on the inside, so I should be able to easily drill and mount some kind of junction box here that will have a USB charger and a routine junction connections, maybe even with wire nuts or whatever to connect up the depth sounder. But step one is to pop out these screws and take this cover off and see what's underneath, and then put the cover back on before I go. Yes. This one, it looks like I actually broke the tip. That's what it looks like. But it was very hard. I got the thumb screw off. The wheel's coming off now. And I think... Come on. Okay, so I've got the cover removed, and you can see I just got it hanging from my solar panels at the moment, and it's just now precariously resting there, so I've got to be very careful, because I don't want to tug at the two wires that are going to my compass light, because they do work. But it looks to me like I've got a wooden foundation here, which could stand some cleaning, so I'll get the shop vac in here and clean it up. You can see how this wooden thing is installed. There used to be a table, no doubt, that hinged down, probably like that. That's long since gone. But I can see how this thing is attached. It's got these four ginormous lag bolt type things going through the fiberglass, and so this is just mounted horizontally to the fiberglass structure, which tells me it would be easy enough to drill out these plugs and get these screws, those big screws, out of there, and then make another piece of wood shelf that matched that opening exactly and just replace it. But if I make the next shelf bigger, it would be that much harder to install it. I'd have to run a bolt in the opposite direction. So I'm just thinking about that. So we're just thinking out loud now. The question would be, if I replace this piece of wood, what am I going to replace it with, and how am I going to attach it? And these are the sorts of things I can think about for the next few weeks while I'm up there in Georgia. And honestly, you see me cleaning. It's not because I'm a clean freak, but I think sometimes you can see better. And so if you haven't seen this kind of thing before, this is the brake that has this wheel, and it just kind of clips these two guys together and onto the shaft. So that's the shaft of the steering. And I'm turning the wheel. Yeah, you can see I keep the chain good and greasy, so I'm happy with that. And what I worry about is sometimes I have this thing locked, and I think I've got it locked pretty well, and still a really big wave, like if you're an anchor and you get waked by somebody, the force on the rudder will actually make this thing move, and it just just makes it, it just wears this out here, but I don't know what I would do except I could pop out these screws, take these shoes off, and clean them, I guess, but I'm really not sure what I would do about that. But for now, I'm just going to clean it and then think a little bit more. So you can see we've got these just finished running the engine, so now kind of looking at my mess I've got here. Excuse me. Yeah, so the problem is, seems like I use those words way too much. I have pretty good drip coming from the shaft seal down in there when the engine is running, but it's not dripping at all when the engine's off, and that's pretty much how it is supposed to be. But I got a pretty good oil leak, so hang on a sec. Stand by. Please stand by while we adjust our set. So I'm going to shine the light back there. So aft of the diaper back in there, there's a little bit of a puddle of oil in the bilge back there. So my oil leak is no fuel leak. I checked that when I was running it. So my fuel leak, that repair is still holding up. But, so no leaking. So my fuel leak, which, yeah, so the fuel leak I had before has not come back. It was fixed with the high temperature epoxy, and Cousin Jack, you're the man, buddy, for helping me not screw up my engine. So the fuel leak is still fine. I'm planning to live with that repair for the life of the boat until I repower it someday. The oil leak, I mean, if it's leaking like 5 tablespoons for a 5 or 10 minute run, that seems like a lot of oil. I don't know. Seems like a lot to me. But the question is, how do you fix it? I mean, it'd be so difficult to make that repair. You pretty much have to pull the engine out and rebuild it in the shop, you know. I'm not too hip on that either. Well, there you have it. I'm getting ready to pack up this boat and shove off and head back up to my job. It's morning now on the weekend. Beautiful day again coming up. So you saw the engine. So first I want to say another shout out to Cousin Jack. You know, I really, really appreciate you steering me correct on that fuel leak that I had before. I mean, I was on the verge of putting a wrench on that anti-stall fitting and taking it out, and then thinking I was going to put some pipe thread or pipe seal on it and then put it back in, but, you know, or just cranking down and putting another quarter turn on it. But, you know, Cousin Jack, you really helped out, because I would have probably done that if you had not offered that suggestion. And I probably would have ended up cracking my fuel injector pump, and I probably would have spent months trying to find parts, so I would have been still sitting in Faber Cove, probably. I would not have had the opportunity to go to and from the Bahamas. So, anyway, so I appreciate that. And with respect to this table that I want to mount on the helm, or this structure that I think I want to make, you know, my mind thinks in terms of build something with wood, and that's not a bad thing, I don't think, but what would it look like when I'm done? Would it look ridiculous, or would it even work, and would it be strong enough if someone were to grab it and put their body weight to bear on it? Or, you know, Richard Holland, you're out there, and I do appreciate your comment from the last video, I think it was the last one, about, you know, just go online and buy a device that can clamp onto the binnacle itself, you know, right around the compass, that stainless steel loop. And a device that can hold the tablet, or a device that can, you know, mount a little table that I can also mount the depth sounder to. So it's got me thinking, and I think that's probably the direction I'm going to go. So I'll keep you posted with that job. I am glad I took apart the helm so I can see what's inside of it, and I have a better feel for what that job is going to be like, and I'll be thinking about that while I'm up in Georgia. Other than that, the thing to do today is clean the hull. I'm aground again. It's low tide right about now and getting a little lower, I think. Yeah, water's still going out. So it's a great time to throw the dinghy in the water with my world's biggest putty knife and kind of scrape off the barnacles real fast along the water line and try to get that algae off and stave off, paying $150 for someone to dive the boat and clean it. So that's what I'm going to do today. At a high level, my contract is for 6 months at this job, so that's kind of perfect in that it'll give me some time to make some money to help out the project get finished, and also help me think some more about things I want to do to the boat, and of course the money it takes to do these things. So that's what I'm going to do, but I am considering, and I'll point out that I'm on a schedule that is like 8 working days on in a row. So that's 8 in a row, maybe 9 in a row or 10 in a row if we work some overtime, and then having 4 or 5 or 6 days off. So during those days off, I might come down sometime and move the boat a little closer to where I'm at in Georgia. That's an option. That's just to reduce the driving time. Excuse me, but I also may move the boat to a marina right here in Fort Pierce that has a boatyard as well. There's a boatyard down here that allows people to do their own work and also allows you to live aboard. Those are 2 rare things to have, and so I'm probably going to do that. Probably my next trip down, I might move the boat over to the boatyard and haul her out and leave her up on the hard for the rest of my time in Georgia. And that will probably relieve a lot of my stress, even if it costs a little bit more to have it on dry storage. It's not considering the hurricane season is just 4 or 5 months away, and I'm still going to be working in Georgia then when the hurricane season starts. We got to be considering things like that. Definitely need a bottom job in this boat. I mean, it's been a full year and a half, I think. Oh hell, I don't know. Long time since I've done the bottom job, and I'd probably like to clean it and paint it again and get a new anode put on while I'm here in Florida. So with that, I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Bye.